You know him, that guy with the brilliant ideas, the grand dreams, that sparkle in his eyes suggesting he's destined for something extraordinary. He talks about amazing projects, lives in a world of pure possibility, yet nothing ever comes to life. Every failure has a ready excuse. It wasn't the right time. The world just didn't understand me. Maybe he's that childhood friend, a younger brother, your boyfriend, or even your father. Someone who, despite their age, seems stuck in time. An adult behaving like a boy, emotionally volatile, commitment phobic, always chasing freedom and dodging real responsibility. And maybe, just maybe, a part of you still holds on to hope that he'll change. Carl Jung called this psychic pattern the puer aeternus, the eternal boy. It's the archetype of the man who refuses to grow up, living in a constant state of transition, always preparing to live, but never truly starting. He charms with his youthful energy, creativity, and spontaneity. But behind this charm lurks a shadow, the inability to handle the demands of the real world. The puer expects life to bend to his desires, for others to solve what he refuses to face. He idealizes the perfect woman, the perfect job, the perfect life. And when reality doesn't match his fantasies, he flees. He breaks away. He gives up and returns to the cycle of unfulfilled dreams. He sees himself as too special for the mediocrity of routine, when in fact he's paralyzed by the fear of failure, frustration, and growing up. If you've ever tried to help someone like this, you know how draining it is. You get tired of giving advice that goes unheard, offering support that's wasted, trying to pull someone who, deep down, doesn't want to move. And the cruelest part? He makes you feel guilty, as if you're the problem for demanding too much, for wanting him to mature, for not accepting an eternal almost. But the truth needs to be said. This man you know is trapped in a fantasy of freedom that's actually a prison of fear and immaturity. And if he doesn't wake up, he'll grow old without ever truly living. This isn't an attack, it's a mirror. If you're still watching, it's because something within you recognizes this pattern. Perhaps in someone close, perhaps even in yourself. The journey of the puer aeternus doesn't have to end in stagnation. But change only begins when the truth is faced head-on. Let's talk about it now. The puer aeternus, the refusal to embrace adulthood. The puer aeternus isn't just a personality type, it's a profound archetype, a powerful psychological force that operates in the unconscious of thousands of men. It's often mistaken for charisma, spontaneity, or a free spirit. But beneath this light-hearted exterior lies something far more serious. An almost instinctive refusal to mature. Carl Jung observed this pattern in countless patients and throughout myths across history. The puer embodies one who refuses to leave the paradise of childhood, the psychological comfort of the mother, where everything is taken care of, protected, and resolved. He lives in the shadow of a glorious tomorrow that never arrives. He's the eternal son of the gods, the chosen one, the special one. But in reality, he never takes charge of his own life. You've seen this firsthand. Men who bounce from job to job, always searching for something more meaningful, who start projects with boundless enthusiasm only to abandon them at the first hurdle. They fall intensely in love but vanish the moment the relationship demands maturity. They talk about spirituality, self-discovery, and freedom, yet they can't pay a bill on time or maintain a commitment for more than a few months. And it's not for lack of intelligence or talent. The puer is often brilliant, sensitive, and full of potential. He possesses a vibrant connection to creativity, inspiration, and imagination. But precisely because of this, he dwells in the realm of ideas and avoids the weight of reality. He wants to fly without building wings, desires love without commitment, seeks success without effort, and craves the rewards of adulthood without paying the price of maturity. And when the world doesn't deliver, he rebels. He blames the system, his parents, life itself, but never himself. Jung noted that the puer aeternus suffers from a disconnection with time. He's always in a not now, always waiting for something else to happen first. The right idea, the right woman, the right phase. He lives in the when, never in the today. And because of this, he doesn't truly live. He merely survives, fed by dreams that become burdens. But there's another side to this story, because despite his immaturity, the puer also carries an undeniable force. He represents inner youth, creative imagination, and the ability to reinvent life. The problem isn't the boy who exists within the man, it's when that boy takes control of his entire existence. And this is exactly what we need to understand next. When the light of the poor begins to dim and the shadow takes over. Let's talk now about the dark side of the man-child and how it silently destroys everything around him. The shadow of the man-child. There's something magnetic about the man dominated by the poor Eternus archetype. He's light, spontaneous, speaks like a poet, dreams like a visionary, and lives as if outside of time. He doesn't follow rules, accept labels, or cling to anything. And for many, this is captivating. He seems free, and who doesn't yearn for freedom in a world suffocated by obligations, commitments, and empty routines? But here lies the trap. This freedom is an illusion, a carefully constructed disguise to hide what he fears most: reality. The poor isn't free, he's a fugitive. He flees from pain, failure, rejection, frustration, and the passage of time. He escapes the weight of being responsible for his own life. And every choice he avoids, every decision he postpones, every responsibility he shifts, deepens his prison disguised as autonomy. You've seen this up close. He claims he doesn't want a conventional job because he was born for something greater, but the truth is he's terrified of routine, hierarchy, and commitment. He says he doesn't want to tie himself down, that relationships are prisons. But in reality, he's deathly afraid of surrendering, of being truly seen, of being held accountable. He claims to hate rules, but deep down, he simply doesn't know how to deal with boundaries. This freedom he sells to others is, in fact, a childish refusal to confront the harshness of life. He wants to be eternal, light, unblemished. To achieve this, he needs to remain in constant motion, like a balloon drifting in the wind. But time doesn't wait, and the real world, sooner or later, demands a price. Carl Jung stated that the poor Eternus lives in suspension, as if always floating between heaven and earth. He doesn't want to descend, doesn't want to put down roots, doesn't want to deal with the concrete. But without roots, nothing grows. Without effort, nothing flourishes. And without pain, there is no transformation. True freedom isn't the absence of limits. It's the ability to consciously choose what deserves your commitment. But the poor doesn't choose. He escapes. And in this escape, he not only sabotages his own life, but gradually destroys the people who try to love him. The devouring mother, a cycle of imprisonment. No puer Eternus simply emerges from thin air. Behind almost every man who refuses to grow up, there's a silent figure, sometimes loving, sometimes suffocating, who shields him from the world, but also prevents him from confronting it. This figure, in Jungian analytical psychology, is called the archetypal mother. And when her presence becomes excessive, she transforms into the devouring great mother, the one who, instead of giving life, traps. This mother can be literal, an actual overprotective mother who did everything for her son, never let him make mistakes, always supported him in his falls, but unconsciously prevented him from developing autonomy. Or it can be symbolic, a partner who assumes a caregiver role, a grandmother, any feminine figure who protects, nurtures, embraces, and unconsciously demands eternal loyalty in return. The puer then becomes a man who seeks in the feminine world, not a companion, but a substitute for the mother, someone who understands him without demanding, accepts him without confronting, and supports him without limits. This symbiotic relationship is comfortable, but deeply destructive, because it prevents confrontation with the world. As long as he's being cared for, he doesn't need to act, decide, or grow. He remains in a state of eternal emotional childhood, waiting for the women around him to resolve what he refuses to face, the call of adult life. And the symbolic mother is often trapped in this game as well. She believes she's helping, that she's loving, but in reality, she's feeding a cycle of psychological dependency that drains the vitality of both. Jung was emphatic. The greatest tragedy is when the mother refuses to let the child be born psychologically. This means that even though the body ages, the psyche remains immature, childlike, waiting for comfort instead of seeking grounding. This dynamic becomes even more serious when the puer enters relationships. He falls in love quickly, idealizes his partner, and places unrealistic expectations on her, as if she's meant to fill all the internal voids he refuses to acknowledge. But as soon as the relationship demands depth, commitment, or responsibility, he flees. He distances himself. He sabotages, or worse, he blames the other person because deep down, he never wanted a partner. He wanted a mother disguised as a lover. Breaking this dynamic requires pain. It requires separation. It requires cutting the psychological cord. But it is this rupture that initiates the true process of individuation. Growing hurts, but not growing hurts more. The path to maturity, building inner strength. There comes a moment in life when the disguise begins to crumble. Unfulfilled dreams weigh heavily. Failed relationships leave scars. Life, once full of open possibilities, starts to narrow. And then, the man who still lives under the dominion of the poor Eternus is forced to look in the mirror and ask, how long will I live as if I have all the time in the world? This is the breaking point, the moment when the pain of remaining immature becomes greater than the fear of growing up. But those who think that maturing is a smooth process are mistaken. Jung didn't mince words in describing this path. He said that individuation, the process by which a human being becomes truly themselves, is a psychic birth. And like any birth, it involves pain, struggle, and symbolic death. The first step is to face the collapse of fantasy. It's understanding that life won't wait for you to be ready, that there is no perfect moment, that no one will come to save you. It's recognizing that the real world isn't a hostile place, but rather the only stage where something true can happen. That growing up isn't betraying your essence, it's building it. But for that, one must mourn. The mourning of the idolized boy, the mourning of the imagined life, the mourning of promises that were never fulfilled, and above all, the mourning of the symbolic mother. Killing the boy within doesn't mean suffocating your creativity, your lightness, or your dreaming soul. It means no longer using him as an excuse to escape from life. It's allowing the boy to continue existing, but now under the leadership of the man. Maturity requires construction, structure, and consistency. It means saying no when it's easier to escape, committing even when you crave freedom, working with focus even when inspiration doesn't strike, being present in a relationship even when the initial idealization has faded. It means trading the fleeting ecstasy of the new for the transformative power of continuity. And here lies the secret. When the poor is integrated into the adult man, he doesn't disappear. He transforms. He becomes the source of creativity, vision, and intuition, but now channeled by a mature, firm psyche capable of acting in the world. This is true rebirth, when the eternal boy stops fleeing from reality and begins to build with it. But this process isn't easy, and it doesn't happen on its own. Many men at this point feel lost, exhausted, not knowing where to begin. They know they need to change. They know the time of psychological childhood is over, but they don't know how to take the reins of their own life. And that's precisely why we continue, because the next segment speaks directly to those who are at this point of transition, those who want to change but still don't know how. The time for truth has come, and the decision to grow is finally in your hands. Taking the reins of your life, if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you recognizes the urgency of what's been said. Perhaps you've seen this pattern in someone close to you. Maybe you've seen yourself in every word, and there is no shame in that. None at all, because all of us to some degree carry the temptation to remain children in a world that demands maturity. We've all run away from some responsibility, dreamed of shortcuts, and hoped that life would offer us comfort before we were ready to face it. But the truth is simple and brutal. Life doesn't wait. It demands, it requires, it tests, and sooner or later, you will be confronted with the choice to remain trapped in the world of promises or finally cross the bridge to the world of fulfillment. And this crossing is only possible when you choose to grow. Not when you feel like it, not when everything is perfect, but when you decide with courage that it's time to stop running away. Carl Jung said that the person who doesn't confront their own demons will be condemned to meet them at every corner of life. The poor Eternus is one of those demons, one that hides under the name of freedom, authenticity, misunderstood genius. But in practice, it corrodes your roots and prevents any solid construction. It won't disappear on its own. You need to face it, acknowledge it, integrate it, and above all, choose to be greater than it. Maturity is what is born when you stop waiting for someone to come and save you and start saving yourself. When you understand that responsibility isn't a prison, but a path to power. When you realize that true freedom isn't doing whatever you want, it's having enough internal structure to choose what is necessary. Now I want to hear from you. Which part of this resonated with you the most? Comment down below. Be honest. Sometimes writing is the first step to giving shape to what you felt. And if this made you reflect, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Someone who is trapped in the same cycle and may not even realize it. Keep watching. It may hurt perhaps, but it will free you. And in the end, that is what matters. Real freedom. Subscribe for more free valuable videos. Thanks for watching. Mind Unbound.